Good morning, everyone. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So we were talking about last time, we were talking about a hypothetical scenario in which Burger King was made illegal. And we wanted to talk about how this reflects upon the American dream and other philosophies we were talking about. So one of the big issues we touched on is if Burger King were illegal and you were to set up a hypothetical burger legging scenario, would that not involve you in more unethical scenarios? Would that not force you to say, just saw somebody walking by. Let's run. Oh God. Oh F. Oh frag me. So good day, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, and I've written it down on the board here. It is revenge. So before I begin, I want to ask you, what are some of the connotations of revenge to you? Do you picture maybe like a Shakespearean act of vengeance, or perhaps some more trivial pettiness? Perhaps your friend drinks your soda out of the fridge, so you slash your tires. Something harmless like that. But I would like to argue a point here. What if all of these acts of revenge, from the war in Iraq to telling somebody they're ugly, what if they're all related? What if they're all part of a singular consciousness? What if they're all part of a movement, a philosophy? And this is a philosophy course, so everything that we talk about in this class is going to be through the lens of philosophy. So I would like to start off by kind of complexifying our study of revenge. So we're going to want to divide it into two categories. So does anybody have an idea of what those categories might be? Anyone? I'm going to divide it down here, and we can just write stuff as we think of it. Okay, so here's a good one. Justified. Okay, that's a good one. And another one? Okay, unjustified. That's a good one. So this raises an interesting point. So how do we determine what's justified and what's not justified? So let's go back to the example of drinking the Coke out of the fridge. Would any of you think that it would be justified to slash that person's tires? Okay, some of you, okay. But, would it be more justified, perhaps, if a more moderate punishment were delivered? So can you give me an example of a more fitting punishment? Okay, that's a good one. Drinking their soda. In their soda. That's very good. That's very good. This is kind of the Hammurabi concept of an eye for an eye. So, Hammurabi would argue maybe that any crime or transgression or sin kind of deserves a punishment that is kind of, pushing that pain back onto the person who inflicted it. Okay, that's good. Does anybody have another kind of maybe one that's not, as eye for an eye, but perhaps is just as moderate? Anybody? That's a good one. So let me kind of rephrase that here. I don't want to write this. Okay. So turning off DVR when recording VeggieTales. Okay, so what Christy is saying is that in this hypothetical punishment, they have this episode of VeggieTales they really want to watch, and you're just turning off the DVR. So they're out doing whatever they're doing. they're trying to time shift, catch their episode, and you just deleted it. You know, they don't have it anymore. So this kind of raises a little more ethical complexity to it. So this is a very good example. So what kind of television show is VeggieTales, by the way? If any of you haven't watched it. Yes, it's a Christian show. It's a Christian show. So some very smart people like to kind of have this secular theory of religion as simply, you know, a form of philosophy. Like all philosophy, it seeks to provide a moral compass for people, a moral framework for people to kind of, you know, determine what's right or wrong. So in a sense, you know, you could say about this, you know, you're not only getting your revenge in the sense of you're inconveniencing this person, but you're kind of depriving them of any means to kind of respond to what you did with their moral compass. You know, you are stealing their philosophy from them. You are kind of throwing out their guidebook, their manual on what to do next. And some people could say that kind of takes the punishment onto a more, in some ways, a more severe level. Because you're taking away their ability to respond in the way that you have. Because some would argue that we all have our moral guidebooks. For example, my moral guidebook, and have you heard of it? It's League of Legends. It's a video game called League of Legends. Some of you might have others. And anybody. Exactly. Subway sandwiches could be considered a very powerful moral guide for some people. Very powerful. Kind of can dictate their whole life, you know? Dictate what they like to eat, when they like it, you know? Anybody? Burger King, it's a very good example. See, okay, let me write this down. I kind of want to make a little room here. Chalk flew right out of me, Butterfingers. So, any of you know the famous Burger King slogan? Exactly. Have it your way. Have it your way. So, let me box around this. Can any one of you kind of sum up what this means, have it your way? Very good. So, have it your way is actually very Lockean philosophy. Because what it's really saying is that no matter what sandwich you want, no matter how much ketchup you want, you know, whether you want your Whopper to be served, you know, at cherry, you know, you have it that way. You have it your way. You know, have it your way. You can have anything you want. So does that apply to punishment? So do you believe that anybody can have the kind of punishment they want? Let's take it a step further. I'm going to introduce a little ethical dilemma for you guys here. I know we're kind of encroaching on the space here, but I'm just going to write it down. So, yeah, okay. I don't want to make this too easy for you guys. What if, okay. Let's consider this. Let's say tomorrow that Trump passes a law saying Burger King's illegal. What do? There are no right answers. This is a philosophy class. There are only wrong answers. Yes? Perfect example of a wrong answer. So what Jaden just said is that, you know, perhaps just eat at another restaurant. But that doesn't really get the crux of the problem, because you see, Burger King is not just any other restaurant, you know? It is not a McDonald's. That is very clear. It is not on this. McDonald's is not on the same caliber. So that doesn't really solve the problem. Okay, burger legging. So burger legging would be a version of bootlegging, but for hamburgers. And this would kind of allow people to have illegal access to Burger King that they might otherwise not get. But this has some complexities to it. Yeah, what about, you know, the only way you could support this hypothetical burger crime infrastructure, let me bring this board up over here. Any markers? No, we don't. We can write on the board. So, crime. Some very smart people have called law the grammar of sex. And would they be wrong? Who knows? But crime introduces an element to this. to support this criminal infrastructure, you're going to have to hire your guns. You're going to have to, kind of evade the police. You're going to have to kind of involve yourself in a lot of, morally questionable activity. Do you think this is correct? I want to stop here. I'm going to let you all take a break, and we're going to be back at the next lesson. Good morning, everyone. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So we were talking about last time, a hypothetical scenario in which Burger King was made illegal. And we wanted to talk about how this reflects upon the American dream and other philosophies we were talking about. So one of the big issues we touched on is if Burger King were illegal and you were to set up a hypothetical burger legging scenario, would that not involve you in more unethical scenarios? Would that not force you to say, I just saw somebody walking by. Let's run. Oh God. Oh F. Oh frag me. Oh, frag me. Oh, God. Oh, my Lord. Oh, fuck. Oh, they're coming. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, God. Oh, please.